Pay attention closely, because what you're about to hear is a truth most people have never had the courage to reveal. There exists a quantum secret so potent that once you remember it, no force in this world will ever again be able to shape your reality without your permission. Since the 1400s, this knowledge has been deliberately hidden, passed only through symbols and whispers from those who understood where to look. But don't think this is some dusty piece of forgotten history. What I'm about to share will shift your consciousness the moment it sinks into your awareness. Your soul will recall that it has always been infinite, and the parts of your life that feel heavy, confusing, or broken will begin reorganizing themselves naturally. Tell me, do you know why you feel that emptiness? That ache in your chest? That feeling that something essential is missing? It's because the world you see, the 3D physical reality, was designed to make you forget your own magnitude. You were trained to shrink, to fit inside a small identity they created for you. As long as you stay asleep, they know you'll follow the script. Obey, absorb, hide your real self. But today, everything changes. Because I'm going to reveal where the key to Earth's awakening has always been hidden. You search for love, peace, abundance out there, but all of those exist inside you as quantum possibilities waiting for your attention. And the memory of this truth, it isn't locked in some scripture or ancient monument. It's held in something you carry every day without realizing its power. I'll tell you what it is by the time you reach the end of this message. Are you ready? Because once your consciousness hears this next part, there is no going back. Share this message with the first person who enters your mind. You won't just be sending a video. You'll be sending a quantum signal to a soul prepared for activation. Do it now. It amplifies the awakening. For centuries, your consciousness has been sealed away. Now that you know this, you're finally ready to locate it. And here's the fascinating part. Even though oceans and mountains kept ancient civilizations apart, they all described the same hidden truth. How could Egyptians, Indians, and Greeks all agree on something so profound when they had no way to communicate? Because they weren't speaking from the mind. They were speaking from the same universal memory. According to these cultures, the soul does not awaken at birth. It actually falls asleep. Modern humans think birth is the beginning, but the ancients called it the Great Forgetting. They believe consciousness originates from the quantum field, where all potential exists simultaneously. In that realm, there is no separation. Your core vibration, your real identity, shines clearly. But the moment you enter a physical body, something shifts. A veil covers your perception. A fog settles over everything you used to know. Egyptian initiates were taught that the body is not the problem. It's the illusion that we are only the body. Indian sages named this illusion Maya, the deception that makes the physical world feel solid and separate. Greek mystics said the soul forgets its divine frequency and becomes trapped in repetitive cycles. Do you see the connection? The truth is universal. But here's the mystery. This knowledge wasn't shared with everyone. Masters passed it down secretly inside sacred chambers. Only a few were chosen to hear it. Why? Because they understood a dangerous truth. Information without readiness becomes a weapon of the ego. Someone unprepared would use it for control, self-importance, or escapism instead of transformation. Real wisdom requires a clear heart. Curiosity isn't enough. You must be willing to live what you learn. Silence in the temples wasn't suppression. It was protection. Those who wanted shortcuts walked away disappointed. But the ones who stayed discovered something that could never be written down. What happened inside those temples? What moment triggered the soul to finally remember itself? That revelation is coming. Before we continue, subscribe to this channel, not for a notification, but to align your energy with this frequency. It stabilizes your quantum field, so the truth lands deeply. When the temple doors closed, there were no rituals, no chants, no flames, just darkness, stillness, emptiness. The initiate had to lose their identity before they could reclaim their essence. Inside that void, their long-held self-image began dissolving. I am weak. I am a failure. I am not enough. I am just a parent. I am only my job. Every label they had clung to started breaking away. Their name didn't matter. Their roles didn't matter. Their reputation didn't matter. Only the truth remained. Thoth understood that this exact moment was the most crucial point of the entire inner journey. The instant when the ego structure, the artificial 3D identity you've carried your whole life, realized it was losing control and began fighting desperately to pull the initiate back into the old version of themselves. It would throw fear, doubt, distorted images, and emotional chaos at them. Because for the ego, dissolving isn't just uncomfortable, it feels like death itself. And here comes the part that shocks most people. The initiate was never taught some secret information. No one stood there lecturing them about the meaning of life. Because genuine quantum understanding doesn't come from learning something external. It emerges when everything untrue is stripped away. Whatever remains afterward is the pure essence that was always there. Imagine being placed in absolute emptiness, a vast field without labels, without history, without roles, without beliefs, without any narrative to cling to, just your awareness standing face to face with itself. Just you, only you, and for many people, that sheer confrontation with their own naked consciousness was overwhelming. Some walked away, some couldn't continue. But the few who stayed with the silence, who stayed with the dissolving of every false identity, experienced a complete quantum shift. They remembered. It wasn't knowledge in the form of words. It was a realization so vast, so whole, that language is too small to contain it. For a moment, everything aligned. They understood that they were not the character they'd been acting out their entire life, but the awareness observing that character. Yet even in ancient times, not everyone was ready for this. And this is where Thoth warned of the danger. Crossing that inner threshold too early, before purifying your energy field, was incredibly risky. If someone with unresolved emotional imprints, what we today call trauma or low-frequency patterns, suddenly connected to the quantum field without preparation, the experience could overwhelm them. The mind could shatter under the weight of something it had not yet been strengthened to hold. Because once you see what exists on the other side, you cannot unsee it. And if the mind is still carrying distortions, it can twist what the soul experiences and turn it into another illusion instead of liberation. To prevent this, the masters taught one thing clearly. Never seek this out of mere curiosity. If you attempt to remember your true nature before clearing the debris inside you, you will only create more confusion for yourself. This is the first real obstacle. This is the reason so many people stop. Because what stands between you and your true self is an invisible wall. One that influences almost every decision you make. Thoth called it the lie of the self. And very few people have the courage to look into their own reflection and admit they have been living inside a false identity for years. This wall isn't out there somewhere. It isn't a force in society or a rule imposed by the world. It exists inside you. It is a collection of everything you believe yourself to be. Think about it. From childhood, you were conditioned, shaped, programmed to function at a specific frequency. You were given ideas about love, success, failure, worthiness, identity. Ideas handed down by parents, teachers, bosses, society. And you accepted them because no one ever taught you to question the source. Let me ask you something. How many times today have you stopped to examine your own thoughts? How often have you asked, where is this coming from? Because the truth is, most of what you think on a daily basis is not your own thinking. They run automatically, looping like a hidden background app, constantly draining your energy without your awareness. Now we reach the first real practice. Nothing mystical, just raw honesty. When a negative thought rises, I'm not enough, I always fail, nothing will work out. Pause and ask the ancient question Thoth gave to his students. Is this frequency truly mine, or did someone else plant it in me? It sounds simple, but this single question can untangle emotional weight you've been carrying for years. Because much of your suffering never came from your true nature. It came from learned frequencies, like tuning into a channel you never intended to watch. And when you recognize this, something cracks open, Not destruction, but freedom. If this message resonates, right, I am reclaiming my own frequency as your first conscious act of energetic sovereignty. Writing it is not merely symbolic. You are declaring to quantum field that you are no longer a passive receiver of outdated programming, but an aware creator of your own mind. If you felt a shift while reading this, tap like, because that small physical action becomes a moment of coherence, a signal to the universe that you are choosing your evolution. Every thought you consciously observe breaks another link in the old chain, but now the resistance begins. Your ego, the 3D identity, will push back hard. It will whisper that releasing old beliefs is dangerous. It will try to convince you that without those thoughts you'll lose who you are. It will act like it is protecting you. But the truth is simple. Those thoughts never belonged to you. They were never you. Those thoughts that once controlled you were never your real voice. They were only background static disrupting the purity of your true signal. And when that noise finally begins to fade, something extraordinary happens in the empty space left behind. A silence appears. And while at first it feels frightening to stand inside such stillness, you eventually realize that silence is not a void but an opening, a vast field of quantum potential where forgotten parts of you can finally return. Since the moment you entered this world, a deeper awareness has been sleeping within you. And as the first illusion collapses, that ancient part begins to awaken. And when it stirs, something uncanny unfolds. You discover a way of perceiving that does not rely on your physical eyes, a quiet inner knowing that doesn't think, compare, or judge, but simply recognizes truth the way light recognizes itself. Thoth called this inner perception the single eye, and when you shift into the state of quantum awareness, you no longer require explanations or external validation, because truth arrives as a feeling long before the mind attempts to process it. You've already tasted the sensation during those moments when you walk into a room and instantly sense that something is off, or when you meet someone and feel that their words are hiding a deeper intention, even if they appear perfectly polite. This is the single eye, your consciousness reading the waveform reality, the energetic blueprint beneath the surface before it collapses into a solid 3D experience. And yet most people cannot access this ability consistently because they've been trained to trust thoughts more than intuition, to worship information, and ignore the subtle intelligence that never once stopped whispering inside them. Your eyes can only see appearances, but the single eye feels the truth behind them. So here's your first gentle exercise. Close your eyes for a moment and stop searching, stop trying, stop producing mental noise, and simply rest in silence for 10 seconds without expectation, allowing whatever arises in that quiet to appear on its own. Because even if it feels like nothing, that nothingness is actually everything. It is the point-free field where the single eye reactivates. This matters because when you seek answers only through thinking, your mind can offer you nothing except recycled concepts, memories, and beliefs that belong to your past. But true insight does not arrive as a thought. It arrives as clarity so unmistakable that it needs no words to validate itself. If you've felt this inner clarity before, right? I trust my silent clarity to anchor that frequency inside your field. For this declaration tells the universe that you are shifting your attention from the external, logical 3D world to your own direct quantum perception. If you feel that subtle alignment happening right now, tap like to sharpen it, because that single action sends a ripple of coherence through your nervous system and strengthens the neural pathways that support this higher mode of awareness. Still, this perception is only the threshold. It is the opening of the door through which light begins to enter, but behind that door lies something far more mysterious. Knowing the truth and living from it are two completely different paths, and only you can sense the next step, because it is expressed through the unique frequency your soul has been emitting since the beginning of your existence, a vibration so subtle that most people miss it entirely. Thoth refer to this as a name that cannot be seen, not a spoken name like John or Mary, but the electromagnetic signature of your soul, the soundless resonance that expresses everything about who you really are without needing a single letter. You have felt it before. That fleeting instant when nothing outside changed, but everything inside clicked into alignment, or those moments when your mind is confused, yet something deep within you knows exactly what direction to move toward. These tiny openings of silence are the spaces where your invisible name becomes audible, not as an idea, but as an undeniable certainty. This name cannot limit you the way the labels given by society do, which is why it is called an invisible name. It is not shaped by your job, your past, or any identity constructed by others, but is instead the pure vibration of who you are in the quantum field, a soul signature that no one can replicate or alter. And the astonishing truth is that you have heard this inner sound before, not with your ears, but with your heart, for it has been calling to you since the moment you arrived on Earth. The noise of the 3D world, the fear, the pressure, the expectations, all of it muffled that vibration, but it never disappeared. It simply went dormant, waiting quietly for the moment when you would finally create enough inner silence to notice again. And when you do, your inner radio dial shifts, your entire frequency recalibrates, and you begin hearing the truth that has always belonged to you. You begin to realize that the answers you spent your whole life searching for in the world outside were always quietly waiting inside you, and that hollow feeling you carried for so long was never caused by the absence of something external, but by the absence of this inner connection that you're only now beginning to remember. And pay close attention here, because when that core frequency of your being wakes up, it doesn't merely soothe you with peace. It pulls everything that has been buried into the light. Even the parts of yourself you tried desperately to hide or forget. Old fears, unresolved traumas, and forgotten memories begin to rise from the depths because your soul's frequency does far more than remind you of your true infinite nature. It also brings up every emotional imprint you once attempted to erase. And this rising of forgotten becomes a doorway you must walk through next. For when the quiet vibration of your soul gets stronger, the truth is that both your highest self and your deepest wounds return at the same time, because real light cannot shine without illuminating the darkness that surrounds it. This is the moment where many people turn back. Peace is easy to desire, but very few are prepared to confront the pain that peace naturally reveals. In this process, the one thought referred to as a cleansing of the soul is what I want you to understand not as punishment, but as a natural energetic clearing, the same way a river clears itself when it finally flows without blockage. Imagine your consciousness as a once pure stream now clogged with emotional stones, heavy memories, and dense low vibrational imprints that were never meant to remain. The water is still there. Your life force is still moving, but the flow has been obstructed for years. This clearing process is simply the unblocking of that flow. It requires courage to look at the debris that has been stored in your energy field. The old hurts, the unspoken wounds, the moments we were made to feel unworthy or unloved, the memories you push away because remembering them felt unbearable. And the greatest revelation you will ever learn is this. What hurts you is not the pain itself, but your resistance to feeling it. Pain grows sharper each time you run from it. Suppression makes it heavier and causes it to settle deeper in your energy field. But something radically different happens when you stop turning away and instead choose to observe the pain without judgment, as if you are witnessing the weather passing through a sky that cannot be harmed. The energy begins to move, not because you fought it, but because you finally allowed it to be acknowledged. You say to yourself, yes, that happened, and yes, I felt that, but you no longer allow that imprint to define who you are now. And in that simple acceptance, the pain loses all authority over you. It shifts from a prison into a memory. This is one of the most powerful truths you'll ever encounter. Write in the comments, my observation is my liberation, if you're ready to release what has been holding you back. For typing these words is an act of bravery, a signal to your energy field that you are ready to dissolve what no longer belongs to you. And if you feel a desire to let go of old energy right now, tap like to align your electromagnetic signature with the frequency of healing. That single motion tells your body and your quantum field that it is safe to begin a deep reset. Once this energetic cleansing begins, something extraordinary unfolds. Your soul or quantum self starts guiding your life, and for the first time, the mind steps down from its throne and becomes what it was always meant to be, an instrument, not a master. A profound interior silence begins to fill you, not emptiness but richness, a fullness born from no longer being dominated by thought. But what becomes of the mind that ruled for so long? Does it disappear, Or does it struggle to reclaim control? Up until this point, you've been removing the layers and veils that obscured your consciousness. And once they fall away completely, your true awareness shines through with such clarity that returning to your old identity becomes impossible. Your thoughts no longer drag you into emotional storms or reactive loops. Instead, you begin to live from a place of consciousness rather than fear, a state so rare that ancient mystics gave a name. Both called it the waking trance, and I refer to it as the observer state, a condition of heightened awareness where you see and feel everything yet remain unshaken by it. It is not a dissociation from life, but the deepest participation in it. Like standing in the middle of a noisy crowd, yet carrying an unbreakable silence inside you. You still have thoughts, but you no longer believe all of them. You still feel emotions, but they no longer consume you or dictate your behavior. And then something remarkable begins to happen. Time itself seems to slow down. The constant feeling of rushing, the heaviness of being late, the sensation of never having enough time, all of it dissolves. From a quantum perspective, this is called temporal flexibility, the state in which you are so present that linear time no longer holds its usual grip on you. You begin operating from a quantum field, where all moments exist simultaneously, and because you can observe emotional triggers before they turn into reactions, fear loses its grip and anger stops being a force that overtakes you. Instead, you witness these states rise and fall without getting pulled into their stories. This is the experience of true inner liberation, the moment when you finally recognize that conscious creation isn't some mystical gift reserved for the chosen few, but the natural ability of your awakened awareness. You stop being a creature reacting to the world around you, and instead become the presence that chooses what to say, how to act, and what to create next. No form of ego-based strength could ever offer you this kind of freedom, because the ego reacts, but consciousness decides. If you understand this, speak it into existence in the comments. I am the conscious observer. If this pull toward inner spaciousness touches something inside you, let it become a declaration of your real identity. You are the open sky, not the temporary storms passing through it. When you write those words, you connect with the steady, unshaken stillness within you, the part that witnesses everything yet remains untouched, choosing with clarity what will unfold next. Tap like if you're ready to live from this observer state, because this choice itself becomes a powerful anchor that keeps you rooted in the present moment. With this shift, your consciousness begins to realize that it is no longer bound to the dense, reactive layers of the 3D world. Instead, you become the one who perceives and directs it. When this change happens, the way you look at people transforms. Someone who once felt like a threat or an opponent no longer appears dangerous. You can see clearly that they, too, are moving through life while carrying their own emotional clutter, unresolved heaviness, or forgotten pain. This understanding naturally awakens compassion, the kind that arises not from pity, but from clear sight. Yet the real question still remains. Is it truly possible to live in this observer state all the time, in the middle of real-world noise, chaos, deadlines, traffic, and the endless demands of life? This is exactly where most people fall back into the old pattern. The mind tries to reclaim its position, whispering that this higher awareness is beautiful in theory, but impossible in practice. And the moment you start believing that story, you slip back into unconsciousness. Waking up isn't the challenge. Staying awake in the middle of pressure, noise, and confusion is. When your eyes are closed and your environment is quiet, remembering your true nature feels easy. But the instant you return to the world's noise, responsibilities, and distractions, your memory of who you are begins to fade. As the ancient masters said, the real alchemist is the one who walks awake among the sleeping, yet refuses to let their sleep pull him back under. Life keeps happening. The world continues loudly. Demands keep arriving. News keeps repeating narratives of fear and limitation. This is a collective cloud of low-frequency static. And here, in this very moment, you must choose. Will your soul's higher frequency guide you, or will you surrender to noise around you? In practical terms, this awakening begins with small but powerful shifts. First, practice presence in the simplest of actions. If you are washing dishes, be fully with the movement of your hands, the sound of water, the sensation of touch. Do not allow your thoughts to drag you into past and future. It sounds simple, but it is deeply transformative. Second, cultivate intentional stillness. Even in the middle of chaos, you can hold a pocket of silence inside, that subtle pause between what happens and how you respond. In that pause, you create your reality instead of reacting blindly to the world. Third, choose your energetic environment wisely. Everything you consume, what you watch, hear, speak, or entertain, either lifts your vibration or lowers it. Fear-based news drains you. Constant complainers weaken your field. The choices you make become your quantum shield. With time and consistency, something remarkable happens. The things that used to irritate you no longer affect you. People who once triggered you no longer have that power. Your peace stops depending on anyone else. But the mind resists losing control. It will try to convince you that all of this is unrealistic or imaginary. In those moments, remember, you are the one in command. As your awareness expands, memories you thought were lost begin resurfacing. Your dreams become vivid and meaningful. Your intuition sharpens. You suddenly sense patterns you never noticed before. These aren't random experiences. This is your consciousness reconnecting with information from various timelines, echoes from what we call past lives. You begin to understand that your current lifetime is just a single phrase in a much larger story. When these old memories rise, they won't be neat or organized. They return as fragments, feelings, symbols, and emotional impressions. This is where many seekers panic. Not knowing what to do, they run outward, searching for new books, new teachers, new ideas. In desperation, they hand their power to external sources, hoping someone else can explain their inner experience. But Thoth's teaching was crystal clear. The true master has never lived outside of you. He speaks through your awakened consciousness, not through words. This inner guide is your bridge to the quantum field, your quantum compass. It communicates not through logic, but through sensations of truth, clarity, and quiet certainty. Even when your mind trembles with fear, that inner calm will whisper that you are on the right path. How do you access this voice? Not through searching or analyzing, but through softening, through making your mind quiet enough for the deeper intelligence to move through. Before making any decision, practice this. Pause. Close your eyes. Take slow, deep breaths. Do not think. Feel. Sense the presence that fills the space before your mind begins to argue. That presence is a voice. It will not push or shout. It simply reveals. If you are ready to trust this inner guidance more than the noise outside, write in the comments, "My inner compass leads the way." Because this journey isn't just about reading words. It's about remembering the intelligence you were born with. There comes a moment when your inner being begins to align with a much higher vibration, an energetic tuning, where you consciously decide to unplug yourself from the constant noise of the world and slowly shift your inner radio dial toward the clear, unmistakable frequency of your own quantum self. This inner voice doesn't promise instant relief or immediate comfort. It isn't here to make your life easier. It's here to guide you toward transformation. It doesn't offer a soft pillow. It offers a doorway. And walking through that doorway often demands courage, because change rarely feels comfortable at first. But remembering this guidance, staying connected to it, that's where the real challenge begins. Thoth warned that the most difficult trials do not appear when the world is loud. They arise when the mind feels threatened. The mind senses when its long-held control is slipping away, and at that point it unleashes its most subtle and intelligent trap. It puts on a spiritual mask and whispers, "You're not like them anymore. You've risen above. You see more clearly than they do." And with that gentle whisper, you fall into a trap that catches almost everyone on the path, the spiritual ego. This is the point Thoth called the final enemy, the most silent and deceptive opponent you will ever meet. Unlike earlier battles, this enemy does not shout or attack from outside. It speaks quietly from within, wearing robes of purity while still feeding on separation. This is the ego in its most dangerous form. Not the wounded ego that cries for validation, but the enlightened ego that tries to convince you that you are special because you woke up. The real prison is not ignorance. It is a pride that pretends to be wisdom. The ego never truly disappears. It merely changes its disguise. One day it acts like a victim. The next day it pretends to be an awakened saint. But beneath the costume, its hunger is always the same: separation. The moment you find yourself thinking, "I am awakened," and they are still asleep, you're already deep inside the trap. Because anywhere there is division, there can be no quantum coherence. Real enlightenment cannot exist in a mind that believes itself superior. Many seekers fall here, thinking they've reached the light, when in reality they've stepped into a shadow that looks like illumination. How do you recognize this trap? When you suddenly feel the urge to guide, correct, or fix someone else's path. When you silently judge someone for being stuck in the habits you've already outgrown. When you feel secretly proud of your progress. These are all signs of the spiritual ego hard at work. True light does not demand followers. True light doesn't advertise itself. It simply shines, quietly, naturally, illuminating everything around it without calling attention to itself. You reach genuine transcendence the moment you stop trying to become someone special, even spiritually. The moment you simply exist as you are. You don't defeat the ego by fighting it. You starve it. The ego feeds on comparison. Comparing your growth to someone else's. Comparing your path to another journey. Comparing where you are to where you think you should be. When you stop giving energy to comparison, the ego becomes powerless. But there remains a final test. Can you still love someone who is lost without trying to change them? Can you recognize equal value in someone who is just beginning their path? Even if you are further along, if your heart says yes, then you have already started removing the last mask of the ego. This is the final barrier. Click like as a symbol of true humility, a small action that broadcasts your heart's frequency into a unified field. Choosing unity over separation, love over superiority. Real love, the kind that requires nothing, seeks nothing, and demands nothing, is the highest vibration of the unified field. When you cross this threshold, something incredibly quiet and sacred begins to happen. The ego expected a grand revelation, but instead there's a deep, spacious silence. And in that stillness, you realize that everything you have been searching for is already within you, not as an achievement, but as an eternal presence. This is what Thoth described as the moment of conscious unity between yourself and the universe. The sense of separation dissolves. There is no seeker and no sought. You realize you are not a small drop in the cosmic ocean. You are the entire ocean expressing itself through a single drop. Questions stop mattering because you understand that life itself is the answer. There is no struggle to figure things out. There is only being. And how does this appear in the ordinary rhythm of daily life? Not as some floating, detached bliss. It shows up in the way you inhale before sipping water, feeling the miracle of simply drinking. Every simple action becomes sacred. Life hasn't changed, your awareness of it has. The divine is no longer separate from ordinary moments. Every moment is divine. You stop needing rituals to feel close to the source. Just being fully present becomes enough. Everything becomes incredibly simple. One of the greatest teachings said that to live naturally is the highest form of wisdom. Not passive, but deeply surrender to life as it unfolds. When there is no inner resistance, the energy of the source flows freely. Most people misunderstand this. You don't need to escape the world to return to the source. You transform the way you live within the world. Life continues. Events still occur. People still challenge you. But you are no longer tangled in the drama. You participate, but without losing yourself inside it. And when you reach this quiet state, Thoth reveals a secret he rarely spoke aloud, a truth reserved for those who walked all the way to the end of the inner labyrinth. There is no hidden password, no mystical cipher, and no elusive doorway that needs to be unlocked. The truth is far more simple than people expect. And that simplicity itself is what makes it profoundly deep. As Thoth once taught, nothing that belongs to the soul can ever truly be lost. Every insight, every fragment of wisdom, every thread of your connection to the source has been with you long before you took your first breath in this life. The truth never abandoned you, even if the world, memories, or circumstances made it feel that way. It was only veiled by the gentle noise of forgetting, like a signal covered by static. To remember who you are is not an activity of the intellect, nor is it achieved through analysis or force. It is a moment of quantum recognition, an inner illumination. It feels like switching on a light in a room that was always full of objects, shapes, and meaning. The light doesn't create anything new. It simply reveals what has existed there eternally. And now, after all your struggles, all your inner storms, all the cycles you survived, something inside finally shifts. A clarity begins to rise. You move beyond illusions, dissolve old confusions, and reach into that ancient, living part of your soul where forgotten memory has been waiting. Within you lives a memory that breathes, a moment of realization that changes everything about the story you thought you were living. This is where you suddenly understand that you are not the character you've been playing. You are not the fear that tried to bind you. You are not the pain you carried. You are the one who witnessed it all, untouched and unchanged. You are the pure consciousness behind every experience, the presence that remains still and expansive even while you move through storms. You are the sky, infinite, unaltered, and unmoved, while every emotion, every thought, every challenge passes by like temporary clouds. This is the real secret, the one nobody was meant to speak openly, the one forgotten or hidden through ages. When a human being remembers their true essence, they awaken as an infinite, unbound quantum consciousness that cannot be manipulated or controlled by anything external. At that point, you become immune to the fears and limitations the world tries to place on you. The soul, once awakened to its nature as eternal observer, becomes impossible to capture, influence, or suppress, because real power never belonged to the world around you. It didn't come from another person, a situation, or an event. It has always been quietly burning inside you, waiting for the moment you finally pause long enough to see it. And when you recognize it, fear dissolves. The defensiveness fades. You no longer chase anything nor run from anything. This is the essence of true freedom. Not the freedom to do anything you desire, but the freedom from everything that once held you in emotional or mental captivity. You will still experience joy and sorrow, laughter and loss, because you are living a human story. But now you understand that all of it is just a temporary movement of energy. None of it can touch the still, infinite presence within you that is watching it all unfold with peace. If you have read this far, your soul is signaling that it is ready to remember, ready to awaken, ready to step into a higher awareness. So affirm this truth with clarity and conviction. I am remembering who I truly am. This affirmation is your quantum leap, the moment where awareness from the unseen field finally steps into your physical reality. When you speak it, you declare that the era of forgetting has ended. You announce your awakening to the universe. And if this message resonates, let this be your final act of alignment. Remain connected to this frequency. Each time you choose to stay in this awareness, your consciousness receives new waves of coherence, helping you stay balanced as you adjust to your expanded reality. Before you leave, I've placed a special video for you. The next key, the next doorway. When you click it, you continue your momentum. Share this message whenever your heart calls. Every time you share it, you send a wave of clarity and light into collective consciousness. Your action activates the quantum grid, making it easier for others to awaken as well. Your contribution is meaningful, more than you realize.